Hello and welcome to my world and yet another video featuring me going through stuff in my physical media collection. And we got another container that's filled with both animation and anime. And we'll see why. You probably can tell from the thumbnail as well here. So we'll open this one up like so. I do know what's in here, kind of, sort of. Ish. And yeah, I'm gonna have this. I'm just gonna set this on my lap here. And we'll go through it like this. We'll go from my right to your left. How's that, folks? How's that? So we open up here with the Collector's Series version of Heavy Metal. Clearly a great anthology film, collection of animation shorts based on the comics that was in Heavy Metal magazine. I'm trying to remember the first time I've actually seen this movie. I want to say I was on I think it was on one of the Stars affiliate cable channels back in the late 90s, but I'm not 100% sure. But after I saw it, and then years later when I saw it on DVD, that's what led me to get it. Heavy Metal 2000 is the sequel to Heavy Metal, but it's quite different in that it tells a single story. And I remember it being quite good. And although that could be me remembering things incorrectly, which wouldn't shock anyone. I do have a tendency to misremember things. I'm old. What can I say? As I try to adjust the mic on the fly here. I mean, is it as well remembered as the first film? No, but I just remember the animation being quite good, the story being decent, and it was a fun way to spend an afternoon or two. We got three here, kind of the same things here. First, we got probably the best Street Fighter animated film of all time, Street Fighter 2, the animated movie. We've all seen it. I mean, I have Street Fighter, the 15th anniversary collection, where the censored and zoomed in pan and scan version of this movie is on that. I think the first time I saw it, I want to say it was on HBO, but I'm not 100% sure. But great film. The what was it? The big fight at the end was Ken and Ryu, the going 2-on-1 with Bison, and they still basically get their butts handed to them for a good portion of that. Before they overcome, Bison is certainly a great visual in and of itself. E Honda surprisingly playing a big role because he and Ryu are Japanese. They're brothers. I distinctly remember that. But and this could also be viewed as like, let's get every single Street Fighter 2 related character crammed into the movie, because DJ is in it for like what, all of maybe 2 minutes. T-Hawk and Fei Long are kind of like what, glorified cameos. Cammy gets a nice little appearance. I think she's part of the plot. Then we have Street Fighter Alpha, the movie, which it does pick up on a various plot points. I think it's collecting all the fighters, bring them in one area. It's almost the exact same plot. But the villain, or at least the big bad villain at the end, isn't a Street Fighter character. It's just some scientist who becomes all powerful or something to that effect. I remember, the fight is like Dan Hibiki goes up against Birdie, and Dan is all ready to go in and launches a little pathetic little key blast, Hadoken, Godoken, whatever it is you want to call it, and then gets immediately choked out by Birdie. That in itself is a great visual. Then we have Street Fighter Alpha Generations, and I probably only watched this once, and I don't remember a thing about this. Clearly, I watched it because the only reason it's in my collection is I bought it, but I don't remember this one at all. I don't remember anything about this one. So. And we're getting into some anime here. Demon Warrior Koji. And absolutely not for young adults or young children. Actually, this one ended up in the wrong container. Well, there you go. We'll just move on from there. I don't remember anything about that one either. Let me go in this order here. Yeah. Steelbook container, Volume 1 of The Real Ghostbusters. One of the greatest Saturday morning cartoons. Actually, it was in syndication first. Does this have the episode listing? Which episodes were on this one? Okay, this has the syndicated one. Well, part of it. ABC season 1 was Ghost Star Us, Kilowatt, Mrs. Rogers' Neighborhood, Slammer Come Home, Troll Bridge, The Boogeyman Cometh, great episode, Mr. Sandman Dream Me a Dream, When Halloween Was Forever, which brought out Samhain or Samhain, Look Homeward Ray, another great episode, Take Two, which was actually the episode. Take Two is actually the episode of Real Ghostbusters, which really establishes the Ghostbuster multiverse. Like the distinct, as far as the Real Ghostbusters continuity is concerned, the things of the movie is just based on events that happen in the life of the Ghostbusters in and of itself. Citizen Ghost, which is actually the companion piece there, which actually tells Slimer's origin story, which again further reiterates that the events that you see in the Ghostbusters films are, again, it's as far as the Real Ghostbusters continuity is concerned, the stuff seen in the movies are actually just fictional, big budgeted encounters. Janine's Genie, Xmas Marks the Spot, and that's and those episodes are season 1. Then it jumps into the syndication, which is season 1, which aired on a lot, like locally that would have been WPHL channel 17, which aired a lot of the Real Ghostbusters stuff, and at least locally. So that's the Knock Knock, Station Identification, Play Them Ragtime Blues, Sea Fright, The Spirit of Aunt Lois, Cry Uncle, Adventures in Slime and Space. Night Game, the baseball episode where Winston gets trapped in a baseball stadium, which is a burial ground site, like a big battleground between good and evil. Venkman's Ghost Repellers, That Old College Spirit, Ain't Necessarily So, which I think that episode was written by Walter Koenig, or he directed it, from Star Trek. Who You Calling Two Dimensional, A Fright at the Opera, which I actually watched a lot of, because I do remember, this tape may have been rented, but it had A Fright at the Opera on it, and it had another episode. Doctor, Ghostbusted, where they become crime busters, Beneath the City Streets, and Boo Done It. So those are the episodes that are in this volume here. Because you had syndicated episodes, and then you had episodes that were airing on ABC Saturday mornings. Volume 2, which I did not have the steel book for, and it has, let's see here, picking up in syndication, Chicken he clucked, Ragnarok and roll. Words, damn it. Don't forget the Motor City. Banshee bake a cherry pie. Who's afraid of a big bad ghost? Hanging by a thread. You can't take it with you. No one comes to Lupusville, which I think that's the episode that has vampires and werewolves. Drew the dog craze Goblin, which actually is an episode of like misidentification between like one ghost and the ghost that the Ghostbusters were really chasing because of similar powers. The Man Who Never Reached Home, great episode where this guy who was constantly being chased and ends up trading places with Ray accidentally. The Collect Call of Cthulhu, Busman's Holiday, The Headless Motorcyclist, which is a take on the Ichabod Crane Sleepy Hollow, where the descendant of Ichabod Crane is being pursued by a headless motorcyclist instead of a headless horseman. The Thing in Mrs. Faversham's Attic, Egon on a Rampage, Lights, Camera, Haunting, The Bird of Kadarby, Janine Melnick's Ghostbuster, which actually is used in the IDW comic Ghostbusters Get Real, which sees the IDW version of the Ghostbusters meeting the real Ghostbusters counterpart. Janine Melnick's Ghostbuster, that episode, is really used as the framing device for that. Apocalypse, What Now? Lost and Foundry. Not these are all straight up syndication. Hard Night's Day, Cold Cash and Hot Water, The Scaring of the Green, They Call Me Mr. Slimer, where Slimer becomes like a kid's bodyguard, Last Train to Oblivion, Venkman has a real love of trains and gets roped into being the ghost of Casey Jones, is like being the shoveling coal, Masquerade, Janine's Day Off, The Ghostbusters in Paris, The Devil in the Deep, Ghost Fight at the OK Corral, and Ghostbuster of the Year. Again, all of those were syndication. All of those airing in 1986. Because again, when you made stuff was made for syndication, it was also meant to sell toys. You ended up so you needed like a ton of episodes to have a lot of stuff constant. Then we have like 3 smaller collected sets. The Real Ghostbusters Slime Fighters, which has Adventures in Slimer Space, To Call Me Mr. Slimer, Victor the Happy Ghost, and Slimer Come Home. Victor the Happy Ghost was from much later in the series. I don't think. Then you have Real Ghostbusters Spooky Spirits, which has, and again, reading this off of Red, Ghostbuster of the Year, The Revenge of Murray the Mantis, Drew the Dog-Faced Gremlin, and Mr. Sandman Dream Me a Dream. And then Ghostbusters Creatures of the Night, which has Night Game, The Bird of Kadarby, Larson Foundry, and Kilowatt. So it's kind of like no real connection between regarding what episodes are featured. But, you know, I think these were out and being sold before they actually released like the big ones. And I never completed the full set of them because getting a hold of the timeline set was kind of tough. Back into anime, Crest of the Stars. I first saw this on Tech TV in like early 2000s. No, this would have been like 2003, 2002, 2003. Is when I first saw it. It's like it was. Oh yeah, it's 4 discs, and I instantly fell in love with this particular anime. It has a sci-fi element, and you have such great world building regarding the Ob Empire, how it takes over and incorporates different full human planets. into its empire. And technically, they're the villains, but the story and everything is really told from their point of view. And all the normal humans and everything just come across like dicks for the most part. But I just remember it being really good. Then you have Banner of the Stars Volume, which is the sequel, which takes place several years afterwards. Jinto and LaFille are reunited. LaFille is captain, and this ends. If memory serves me right, this ends with them caught in a battle, and the Battle Royal ends up being destroyed. Again, it was it was a great follow up in terms of, okay, this happens, there's a time skip there, so you kind of wonder what happens in between. Then you have Banner of the Stars 2, which kind of sees the crew of the Battle Royal 2, what was it? Trying to negotiate a hostage situation for the most part, so they're kind of they're out of the action. Jinto ends up being held prisoner or something towards the end of it. It's not as good as the first two series. It has its moments, but it's, as a closing to the series, it's not good. You really would have wanted more out of it. At least I did. What else we got here? Then you have what we got in here. Hellsing, the original Hellsing, not the remake one. This one is 13 episodes, and it had a banger of a soundtrack too. And I've never seen the second series that they did, which I think is based. I think the second series is really fleshes things out and expands and uses a lot more things from the manga, while this is more taking what was already published in the manga and really truncating it a bit. I mean, the ending didn't really feel satisfying with me, with just Integra Hellsing being captured and her entire organization basically being destroyed. I remember the butler going down like a boss. He was just a straight up badass. Let's see. Requiem for Darkness. I had the first 3 volumes of this in my collection for well over 15 years. I only managed to track this, the 4th and final volume down, that I needed, about, I want to say 3, maybe 4 years ago, and I have not sat down to watch it. But from what I remember of the series, it's definitely kind of like a Twilight Zone style horror storytelling. The animation I remember being really out there and taking advantage of the fact that they're using a lot of supernatural elements and plots here. Then we have what I jokingly called back in the day the the Pilot Candidate, 4 volumes, and I'm not even sure if that's the complete series. But I remember joking there was something about us this is Neon Genesis Evangelion for kids, for a younger audience. I remember there being a charm to it, but that's all. That's all I can remember, and I don't know if I have the complete series here or not. I really don't know. I'll have to check at some point to see if there were more episodes to it. And the last 2 things here, I haven't watched these in a long time. Vampire Hunter D, which I first saw on the I want to say Encore Action or Stars affiliate channel that showed anime. It was a straight up action channel. A lot of anime was shown on it. That's where I first saw Vampire Hunter D. So, and then later on, grabbed the DVD, and it's been a long, long time, probably close to close to 20 years since I actually sat down and watched Vampire Hunter D. It is a classic, but it's been a long time. Then you have this Armitage box set, which has Armitage the Third, Polymatrix, and Armitage Dual Matrix. And I can safely say, in terms of anime as relates to family, in terms of my mom, I do know my mom definitely enjoyed the Armitage movies. I remember that for a fact. I mean, my mom would. We're getting on the sidetrack here, so I do got fond memories of just watching these with my mom, and we'll get to it eventually because I do got a couple. Got Cowboy Bebop somewhere in there, and but I can safely say now, and I'll probably bring it in that one of my mom's favorite episode of Cowboy Bebop was Jupiter Jazz, like the mid season episode, the mid series episode, where I think Jupiter Jazz was a two-parter, and my mom really liked that episode. At least the conclusion she really liked. Like that first encounter, or like was between what was it, Vicious and Spike. So, but I'll talk more about that down the line. So with that said, that'll bring this container to a close, and maybe notice there's one extra container right there, and that's all Nintendo Switch games. So we'll go through that one at some point too. But with that said, that wraps up this particular video. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any memories of anything here, or want to make a comment about the one DVD that should not have been in this case and should have been in another one regarding stuff that I cannot show, but fuck it, it's my channel. It's this thing that I have it. Leave it in the comments section below. Like or subscribe, that's up to you. And we will see you all in the next video. Till next time, bye.